King Charles gets emotional as William and Catherine reveal beautiful birthday surprise. Windsor Castle awoke to a crisp November morning, sunlight streaming through the tall windows and casting golden patterns across the historic stone walls. Today was no ordinary day. It was King Charles III's 77th birthday, a milestone that carried with it both celebration and reflection. But for the royal family, especially the Prince and Princess of Wales, it was something more, a chance to show the king just how deeply he was cherished. Prince William had been up since dawn, pacing the drawing room with a warm mug of tea in his hand. He kept glancing at his phone, rereading the message he had sent Catherine late the night before. "Let's make this birthday special. Something he'll never forget." Catherine, ever the creative heart of the family, had responded with a single line that made William smile instantly. "Leave it to me. The children and I have a perfect idea." For weeks, King Charles had been quietly battling the weight of royal responsibilities, health concerns, and the absence of Queen Elizabeth's steady presence. Catherine noticed how tired he looked, how the lines on his face seemed deeper, how his smile occasionally slipped into a wistful sigh. So, when William suggested a surprise, she threw herself into planning with her signature gentle determination. In the sunroom of Adelaide Cottage, Charlotte sat at the table with paintbrushes scattered like a burst of color around her. "We need to make it perfect," she declared with the seriousness of a young leader. George rolled his eyes, though affectionately. "It will be perfect. Grandfather won't care if the lines aren't straight." Charlotte's eyes flashed. "Mine will be straight." Little Louis, covered in glitter and more paint than the canvas itself, lifted his masterpiece proudly. "It's Grandpapa with a crown and a corgi," he announced. George leaned in and whispered to Catherine, "He thinks Grandpapa keeps corgis in his pocket." Catherine chuckled softly. "Well, Grandpapa will love it." The three children had each created something special: portraits, handwritten letters, and even a short poem Charlotte insisted on writing herself. But Catherine had one more touch planned, something deeply personal. Among all the public duties, the formal ceremonies, the grandeur of the monarchy, the king rarely had moments of simply being a father or a grandfather. Catherine understood this better than anyone. So, she decided to give him something that celebrated the quiet moments he cherished. She gathered photographs, some never seen by the public. King Charles planting a small tree with George on a spring morning. Charles laughing uncontrollably as Louis tried to feed him a spoonful of jelly. Charles comforting a shy, tearful Charlotte during her first school event. Charles resting gently beside baby Prince George in 2013, the newborn wrapped in his christening blanket. Each photo was placed into a hand-bound album, the cover embroidered with the words, "For Grandpapa, with all our love." Catherine ran her fingers over the finished album, feeling a swell of emotion. "This will remind him," she whispered to herself, "that he's not just the king. He's our family." Meanwhile, William prepared something more private. He found an old video from 1986 of a young Prince Charles playing with toddler William in the gardens of Highgrove. The camera captured Charles lifting him into the air, spinning him around as William shrieked with laughter. When the video ended, Charles placed William on the grass, sat beside him, and said something faint, but clear enough to hear. "You are my greatest pride, my boy." William hadn't watched it in years. When he did, his eyes glistened. "Dad needs to hear that again," he murmured. He arranged for the video to be restored, enhanced, and prepared for a special showing later in the evening. By late afternoon, Windsor Castle was humming with quiet excitement. Staff members discreetly moved about, placing flowers, lighting candles, and preparing the great hall for a small private gathering. Catherine, dressed in an elegant sapphire dress, took William's arm as they entered the king's private sitting room. Charles looked up from a stack of birthday letters and smiled warmly. "There you are," he said. "I was beginning to think you'd forgotten your old father." William laughed. "Never." Catherine stepped forward. "We have a few things for you, sir, but they're not royal gifts, just family ones." Charles's eyes softened instantly. "Those," he said quietly, "are the best kind." First came the children. Charlotte walked forward with a proud smile, presenting her meticulously painted portrait. For you, Grandpapa. I made sure the colors match your favorite garden at Highgrove. Charles examined the painting with genuine admiration. It's beautiful, darling girl. George stepped up next with his letter. Nervous, he cleared his throat and read aloud. Dear Grandpapa, you teach me how to protect nature. You teach me how to be patient. And I want to be a good future king like you. Happy birthday. Love, George. Charles blinked rapidly, touched beyond words. And then Louis marched forward, his glitter-splattered drawing held proudly. Grandpapa, this is you saving the corgis from the rain. Charles burst into a warm, hearty laugh, the kind that filled the room with sunshine. Well done, my boy, he said, hugging Louis tight. I shall treasure it. Catherine stepped forward last, handing the king the hand-bound album. This is a gift from all of us, she said softly, for the moments that matter most. Charles opened the first page and froze. There was baby George, tiny and sleeping in his arms. The king's breath caught. Page after page revealed memories so precious, so tender, so quietly beautiful that Charles's eyes soon glimmered with tears. This, he whispered, voice cracking. This is extraordinary. Catherine's own eyes softened. You've given so much to the country, she said gently. But we wanted you to see what you've given to us. Charles didn't speak. He simply reached out and pulled Catherine into a fatherly embrace, holding her with grateful affection. As evening fell, William guided everyone into a small private theater room. I have one last surprise, he said. The lights dimmed. The screen flickered to life. And there, captured in sunlit, grainy footage, was young Prince Charles, laughing as he lifted little William high into the air. The room fell silent. Older Charles sat completely still, watching his younger self, a father full of joy, innocence, and hope. When the video ended, a soft message appeared on the screen. Happy 77th birthday, Papa. Thank you for everything. William. King Charles let out a shaky breath. My dear boy. William stepped forward, his voice thick with emotion. You once said I was your greatest pride. I want you to know, I feel exactly the same. Father and son embraced, a rare moment of raw, genuine emotion that melted every heart in the room. Dinner was warm, relaxed, filled with laughter and gentle teasing. No pomp, no ceremony, just family. The way Charles loved it most. Later, as the children drifted off to bed and the castle grew quieter, Charles took Catherine and William aside. My dear Catherine, he said softly, thank you for the love you bring into this family. And William, thank you for reminding me who I am outside the crown. He touched their hands gently. You've given me a birthday I shall remember for the rest of my life. Before leaving, William and Catherine walked the king to the terrace. The sky above Windsor was clear and full of stars. Charles gazed upward, his heart full. Do you know, he said quietly, for the first time in a long while, I feel at peace. William placed a steady hand on his father's back. You deserve that, Dad. Catherine whispered, Happy 77th birthday, Your Majesty. Charles smiled, a soft, grateful smile that seemed to glow in the starlight. Tonight, he replied, I don't feel like a king. I feel like a loved father. And that is the greatest gift of all.